own a restaurant in North Carolina. And so, as you can imagine, for a lot of small mom and pop restaurants and shops, it's a challenge to kind of just stay open. So
Right.
they were luckily able to do takeout, and my father's worked with a lot of different charities to do some of the groceries and also some of the produce that they have. Just giving back has been really lovely, and I think North Carolina seems like they're opening again slowly, and so I'm very particular about making sure my parents are being very smart and safe, of course, even when
Right.
they should or they need to open up their restaurant again. But they're doing well. Honestly, they're doing well through this quarantine. I think for all of us, we're eager to see each other again, but it's a lot of Zooms and trivia nights. And I've realized we don't do it enough. I feel like now everyone's checking in a little bit more than they used to. I think hopefully we'll carry on with that after all this is said and done.
I think you're right. I think people are realizing how great family time is, and instead of being distracted by technology is actually enabling us to have more meaningful conversations, because you're so happy to connect with someone and be with someone that you're giving them your 100% attention almost.
Exactly.
And I think you realize what you miss about sort of face-to-face interaction, which is cool. Now, so you've got your one brother's in New Jersey, right?
We got one brother is, I think, pretty intense. New York City itself, and I know you're familiar. It's a bit of a ghost town. And
yes, I know, I know.
And Nick and Priyanka are out in California as well. So even though we're all speaking quite a bit, and Nick's only about a 20-minute drive from me right now, it still is kind of a reality check of what it's like. But luckily, everyone is doing really well, and it's been exciting to look forward to the future when we all can get together. But right now, it's been, like I said, a lot of Zooms, a lot of FaceTimes.
Yeah. But I know you've been making the most of it, Joe, because I know that you did
doing something special. Now, being homeschooled for so many years growing up, I didn't get to go to prom.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was the only thing I really look back on. I would say I wish I could have had that experience, but I think we made up for it in just this year with the amount of prom on a virtual prom that John Krasinski hosted on SGN.
That's so cool.
On his Good News Network, which I think is so great. And it was a fun experience. That Billie Eilish and there was a few other people that were part of this that were just amazing. And we're also going to be a part of the graduation ceremony this weekend.
That's so great. That's something LeBron James is putting together. Is that the one that President Obama is involved with as well?
Exactly. Yes. Which anything he's a part of, I'm happy to be a part of.
That's going to be so much fun. And is it hard for you guys so you're performing virtually, right? And
Yes.
What are the challenges of doing that, Joe? Is it hard to kind of synchronize mashups where they're all at their respective locations?
I think the most challenging thing we find ourselves in as artists is how to make it unique and feel like you're right there in someone's living room. Because as much as you could sit down and do an acoustic performance and things like that, we want to make it feel a little bit different. And I think every artist is trying to find the it is right now, and we want the fans to remind everyone that we're all in this situation together. So for us, we've been coming up with fun little concepts, whether if it's the new music video that we actually have coming out in a few days. We were able to create something really unique that I can't wait for people to see. And for the graduation performance as well, we also are just so thrilled to be a part of something like this. And I have friends who just graduated, and they're graduating in their backyards. So to hopefully be a part of their performance, for part of their graduation is really nice.
And doing, whether it's the Berklee School of Music, singing What the World Needs Now, or Sheryl Crow and her friends and Jimmy Fallon did a great rendition of Pressure. And, I think it's coming out in a couple of days because you guys have dropped 2 new singles, right?
Yes, we did. We actually today. So late last night at midnight, we released a song called X featuring Carol G and a song 5 More Minutes that we played a snippet of on the Grammys this year, and we've been kind of holding on to those two. And that was also something we were kind of trying to figure out because in this situation we wanted to give a little bit more than just one. We're like, why don't we do two or an album or whatever it may be? So we got two right now, but we have a lot of other songs that we definitely want to release in the future.
Things to listen to. They're kind of stuck in one place oftentimes. So I guess there's a flip side to that, which is, you've got a captive audience right now, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think there's still things we can do as entertainers, as artists, to be able to engage and I feel really it's actually like the most informative news source I go to right now because I think it's just
Thank
easy
you.
and that so I feel like for everyone we try to think of how can we do what we do best and for me and my brothers we said, you know what, let's just release music for all these fans who are stuck at home and hopefully it puts a smile on their face.
Oh, I'm sure they love it. And I was also thinking, Joe, if this had happened 10 years ago, technology hadn't been where it is right now, and we wouldn't letter and have people read it, it would be much more isolating. And I've sometimes, trashed technology and social media because it's so addictive and it's hard to get away from it. On the other hand, it can be such a positive force for good and for connection. So I think this is a great argument for as long as you use it right and you're not constantly on it. It can be a real, I think, a boon for people and
Absolutely.
I don't,
Where you just scrolling and scrolling or it's the first or last thing you do every day. So
yeah.
at least for myself, I try to do things like meditation or even if it's Duolingo and try to learn some Italian, something that on the neighborhood, switching it up. And I think at least has helped me.
How's your
Instead of just,
Italian, Joe? How's your Italians? Can you say something to me in Italian?
ooh, well, as you can tell, Duolingo's, I get so nervous doing the Italian. I think I can read it pretty well now. Now I can start to decipher that. And if hopefully my Italian coach isn't watching, or she'd be very disappointed in me right
Well,
now.
when say like grazia,
Exactly.
and that's all I know. But I want to learn Spanish actually, which is something I've been trying to do without a lot of success. So there's a lot of things that I've been wanting to do that I'm too lazy to do. But we have been cooking a lot here, and Sophie
I've
said,
seen.
What
It
is
looks real good.
what is Sophie cooking?
Oh,
Or
she's
what
a
are you
fantastic
cooking?
cook.
That was a very gender
Than me. That's just the real. But I would say together, I've been trying to like figure out my British bacon buddy, and it sounds pretty easy. It's just bacon, egg on a roll, but if you're a Brit, you'll know it's hit or miss. So I've been trying to perfect it in time for her family when they can finally come and visit, that I can impress them. But we've been baking a lot, so a lot of cookies, and we're trying to perfect that. So we got a salted chocolate chip cookie that we're trying to get perfect. That way, we can share it with friends when it's time.
Oh, that's awesome. You should use Malden salt. That's the best
Malden
salt.
salt. Okay.
Yes. Maldon. Bobby Flay, name drop.
reality shows, but I've been watching Before the 90 Days. It's a 90 Day Fiance on TLC, and it is so bizarre and funny, and sometimes you start to cry a bit because it's just all over the place. It's very, very interesting, and I highly recommend it. A lot of twists and turns, and also there's a new show on Hulu called Dave that we really like, and Sophie's never seen Lord of the Rings, and
Really?
early on in our relationship, she said, "Look, if we're gonna do this, you need to watch Harry Potter. It's just known that everyone in England watches it, and they stream it or they show it on television." After watching Lord of the Rings, I love those movies, so she started for the first time an activity on top of it. What about yourself? Have you been watching anything new or anything you used to love?
Yeah, I just finished a I just novel that it's beautifully shot and the acting is unbelievable. I think you and Sophie would really enjoy it. It's great, wonderful. And then now there's a show called The Great on Hulu that a friend of mine told me is really wonderful. I think Elle Fanning is in it. It's about Catherine the Great.
We actually just got a drinking game that goes along with the show. So they sent us, so they sent us, Sophie's to it.
That sounds fun and dangerous.
Yeah, it sounds fun and dangerous depending on what the game actually consists of.
Yeah. So that's really what I've been watching. And then I also watched Little Fires Everywhere, which I thought was really, really good. What else did we watch, you guys? Anything else? Little Fires and Normal People.
Hi everybody else.
Yeah, my daughter and Adriana, my adopted daughter. Whose idea was it? She said in the last few music videos, you guys have had your significant others. I know, wives. I know, but I'm just saying your wives in it. And I'm curious. She wanted to know whose idea was it to have them take part in the music videos.
Sure, of course. Well,
this is water, by the way, Joe.
Impressed with.
Yeah, exactly.
So originally, we were trying to figure out. We realized that they were kind of the best of the best for us, at least, and we were thinking, well, hopefully they'll be okay or interested in this. And I remember bringing it up to Danny, Priyanka, and Sophie, and they were like, well, duh, we would also fit the creative. I'm not sure if it's going to become a trend that we do all the time, but they were gracious enough to be in both the videos with us, and it makes it a lot more comfortable on set. I've had videos where there's a love. It was way more comfortable.
Felt much more on. You and your brothers, and I want to get to those, but first I want to ask you quickly about your quibi show, which sounds like so much fun. It's called Cup of Joe. Actually, I had come up with a concept like this, and you kind of beat me to it, Joe. Yeah, that's okay. Maybe I can show you sort of a favorite son or daughter of that city, kind of give you a tour, and you Cup of Joe. You drink the coffee from that city. Tell me about it and how much fun you had doing it, because you had some incredible
brothers and another band that I was in well, still in DNC, and we were traveling for years and years and thinking about, wow, we don't really get to see these cities that often. We see the hotel, the venue, and then we said, why don't we slow things down just a little bit? And the time that we have before the show, I'll go venture out in the city and explore. And it was something that I would do on my own time. And I said, I think this could be an interesting show. So whether if it's starting with a cup of coffee and then meeting up with somebody that trying the locals food, and it was a really great experience for me, at least on this last tour, where I would meet interesting characters. And since you named drop Bobby Flay and then dropped Matthew McConaughey, was our first the bar. So we were able to really get great people, and I was always put through something really bizarre. In Austin, I was playing a chicken shit bingo, which is a thing in Austin. So I'm put through. You can binge watch it very easily.
That sounds like so much fun. And didn't you do Amsterdam, you and Sophie, because that's the city?
It's somewhere, probably in someone's mind, like Vegas, where they think it's just the party city. And there's so much more to it. And so I went there thinking, okay, well, we did live painting, and we walked through canals I've never seen. We went to thrift stores, and that was great. And with my brothers, we were in Barcelona, and we did a human tower, which I don't think anyone's going to do anytime soon, but because you're obviously very close.
Ask you a few questions from your fans.
Sure.
Are the Joe Bros releasing an album this year?
I guess these two songs will do, and what the future holds for all of us, because what comes with releasing an album is we want to get on stage. So fingers crossed, but if it's up to me, I'll
form, and that came from the comments here, so I want to
sure.
make sure that we get to some of those too.
Favorite song to perform, I have to say our song after so many years, and to share the stage again and hear the audience sing that back.
What's your what's your favorite place to eat when you're back in Bergen County, New Jersey?
Wow. We moved away from living in California from now on, but my brother obviously has two beautiful daughters and a beautiful family that he's growing over there. So we're there quite a bit. I'd actually say my childhood bagel shop is still around. I think everything is one of my favorites.
Well, good, because there's a Goldberg's out here that we
really?
go to all the time.
A go-to?
Do they have flagels there?
Flagel.
Flagel, a flat bagel?
Oh, no, but that does sound like a very California thing.
Yeah, this is, well, at the Goldberg's near us,
a healthy
it's
version.
Everything flagel. It's basically a bagel that looks like it was run over by a car.
Everything bagel. It's usually egg, ham, and cheese.
Sounds good.
Not that you asked.
I'm usually scallion tofu myself, but
okay.
My daughter's giving me a weird look. Okay, I have to ask you from Stacy, who works with me, her daughters, new music, and if so, what's inspiring you right now?
Well, speaking of TikTok, I think
I have like I just did one thing once, but I think I should do a TikTok dance to Sucker.
I think it's a good idea.
Now my daughter's really
Yeah, you
giving
can
me weird
just
looks.
embarrass your daughters. Get on TikTok. I'm a fan.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I've been working on a bunch of new music. I can't speak too much about. There's a few fun projects I'm working on besides brothers related stuff that I'm looking for. Brothers, just to keep myself inspired, and you can actually work from afar. Usually songwriting sessions, you need to be in the same room, but we actually have been there's a few songs out there right now that are related to the situation we are in now, but some sort of hope, I think, is what we need.
I agree, and making people smile is a really important thing right now. Okay, just a couple. And you've been sweet to talk to me as long as you have. Let's see, what was the first concert you ever attended? Carrie's first concert was a Jonas Brothers concert, by the way.
No way.
Right?
New Year's Eve 2009.
We also saw you New Year's Eve 2009.
Okay.
Like when it was becoming 2009.
When it was becoming 2009.
Wow.
You performed in
Such a cold year.
It was so cold. I remember that. It was so cold. Okay. All right. Wait, what was the question that I just asked you? What was the first concert you ever attended?
Oh, the first concert I ever attended. Honestly, it was. I don't. Band. I think they're still around, called MXPX, and they were a punk band. And it was the first time I saw moshing in a crowd, and I just remember being terrified. And I don't know how we convinced my parents to let me and my older brother go alone.
That's funny. And finally, what do you miss most about living in Australia?
Oh, well, I was okay. So explain. I miss. It sounds cliche, but I miss the people. I miss the food. They honestly know their brunches. I think they created brunch, and I miss also. I mean, I obviously am a coffee lover from Cup of Joe. Their coffees was fantastic, and I miss working with some of those artists. It was a really special experience. I lived right on the beach in Bondi.
Oh, so I love Bondi Beach.
And I had a hard time leaving because all the restaurants were fantastic, and you're living right there. And but I spent a lot of time in Sydney, and I've toured throughout Australia. I think it's one of the most beautiful places, and you really do feel like you're off the grid when you go, because the time difference is so wacky from America that you really just end up having alone time and do your thing. So if anyone's watching from Australia, shout out. But if you haven't traveled to Australia, when it's time, take a trip.
Yeah, I love it there, and I think the people are incredible. They're so warm. The only and on their hamburgers they put beets basically, and duck sauce. What is that?
Yeah, there's a few things that I didn't bring home with me. Vegemite is one of them, and
I know.
But there's you know what, I think Tim Tams is probably the best little chocolate I've ever.
Too so nice. I saw you from afar at a breast cancer event before all this happened in Los Angeles, and you're such a pleasure and so nice. So thank you for spending time with us.
Of course,
and,
thank you for taking the time, and I'm holding you to the next season. You're on.
Okay, that would be great. I'll have to
pick the city.
Some cool place. I will. I'll
Absolutely.
pick a fun city that I love. Anyway, tell Sophie we said hi.
I will.
And your brothers and Priyanka